Up next on Valley News Live at 10, FDA concerns aren't stopping local distribution of a prominent COVID vaccine.
A farmer's perspective on the negative impact of our trade war with China.
Plus, the remains of a World War II veteran from Minnesota are returned home. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Clinics plan to continue the use of the Johnson & Johnson one-dose COVID vaccine despite the FDA's new warning of its link to a rare nerve disease.
Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor dives deep into what this disease is and why the vaccine may have a link to it.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is now being linked to a rare disease that has the FDA flagging for concern.
With vaccines, and especially very new ones, we have always discovered these kinds of things that they can cause or different, abnormalities.
The disorder is called Guillain-Barré syndrome and is known to occur when the immune system mistakenly attacks the nerves. Symptoms can typically start with minor numbness of the hands and feet, but can lead to more severe effects.
Some people will end up in the hospital and can take several weeks or months to kind of recuperate. The biggest concern is that if it goes up high enough that it can actually get to your diaphragm, and then you're going to quit breathing and you have to put on mechanical ventilation or a respirator.
About 100 cases out of 13 million doses of the J&J vaccine has been associated with the disorder. Research has shown out of those cases, the development of the disease typically impacted men over 50. Dr. Richard Vetter, the chief medical officer for Essentia, explains why these cases may have occurred.
From a vaccine perspective, that it's probably the immune response that gets triggered by vaccines that somehow develops antibodies that also kind of attack the neurologic system.
This syndrome has been linked to other antiviral medications like the influenza vaccine, and its connection has been on the FDA's radar for quite some time. Dr. Vetter says this additional warning could lead to more people becoming hesitant to roll up their sleeves for a COVID-19 vaccine. But in this case, he says taking the vaccine would still be beneficial to public health.
That the vaccine and the benefits of the vaccines outweigh the risk by still, a significant amount.
And some people agree that taking the vaccine leads to seeing the bigger picture.
Please go get vaccinated, not for yourself, but for everyone else. It's really just a question of selflessness and whether or not you're willing to do something so minor and so small just to prevent, all this more sadness and grief.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
So far, the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines haven't had any connection to the development of this condition.
Friends are speaking out as they remember the rural Pennington County mother of 4 who police say was killed by her husband late last Friday. The hunt continues for 44-year-old Eric Reinbold. U.S. Marshals are now offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. Reinbold is the primary suspect in the slaying of his wife Lisette, who, as we said, leaves behind 4 kids, all under the age of 14.
Don't remember Lisette because of her husband. I want everybody to remember her as this strong, independent woman who dedicated her entire life for her kids.
If you have any information on Eric Reinbold's whereabouts, you are urged not to approach him. Instead, call the number on your screen. That's 218-681-6161.
Fargo voters won't be asked to decide on keeping or discontinuing term limits for the mayor and city commissioners. That issue was defeated narrowly and was among several proposed by Tony Gehrig tonight. Gehrig also wants the city to take a look at adding at-large members and changing to a ward system where those who sit on the commission live in the ward they represent.
What are we trying to solve? What are we trying to make better? This is a solution in search of a problem. If you look at our city, what are we doing? I would say we're doing pretty well.
It's just you have to be able to have that person you can call and say, look, I'm having a problem on 64th Avenue South. I know you understand because that's where you live. Right now, no one south of Main Avenue has that except for the mayor, which is fine, but he's representing 50, 60,000 people in South Fargo where we're all representing the people in North Fargo.
Now, one of the ideas agreed to tonight was the formation of an election task force, a group that would look into the issues and provide recommendations to the commission. Also debated tonight was whether Mayor Tim Mahoney would be eligible to run for another term. While the current city attorney believes he is not eligible, Mahoney sought a second opinion from a former Grand Forks city attorney who says he can. That matter will be determined at a later date. The community has spoken, and tonight the Grand Forks School Board is responding. Several school board members spoke at length about what went wrong during last month's referendum and where to go from here. Voters shot down the district's proposal for upgrades and a consolidation of schools last month. Now the board is focusing solely on the question of the $10 million increase for the district's building fund. That failed by only a small margin. The Finance Committee is suggesting September 28th for the next election, keeping the amount of mills they were asking for the same. If the next vote also fails, there has to be a full calendar year before another vote can take place.
A car got into an accident on 25th Street South this evening. You can see the video. It ended up on the grass near Palm Beach Tan. Now, we have reached out to Fargo Police for more information on the accident. We'll pass it along to you when we get it.
Microsoft picks up a tool it hopes will help in the fight against hacking. The software giant says it'll buy RiskIQ, a cybersecurity firm. Officials with Microsoft say the purchase will protect customers from risks that arise as more people are working remotely and using cloud services. RiskIQ has software that will allow companies to keep a close watch on all their networks, including those that run on cloud providers. IT departments across the country are on high alert following the recent uptick in ransomware attacks. The most recent large-scale hack was the Kaseya attack, which happened over the July 4th weekend, impacting hundreds of businesses. With more and more information and communication going virtual, experts say this has made the opportune environment for hackers. However, if the state of North Dakota system does experience a ransomware attack, all is not lost. The state has invested in programs to perform backups, allowing data to be restored up to a few hours before the attack occurred. If you want to learn more about the cybersecurity of the networks you use, both at home or at work, just head to our website, valleynewslive.com.
Haitian police say that they've arrested a man that they say helped orchestrate the assassination of the country's president. The man is a 63-year-old Haitian national. They say he entered the country on a private plane in June with intentions of becoming president. Authorities say he was in touch with a Florida-based Venezuela security firm to recruit Colombian mercenaries and 2 Haitian Americans who entered the country in June. Since the assassination, 18 of the Colombians have been detained, 3 were killed by police, 5 remain at large. A Capitol rioter with ties to a white supremacist prison gang pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor today. Now he'll be out of jail in 2 days. 35-year-old Michael Curzio will have officially served 6 months in jail on Wednesday following his arrest on January 14th. So part of the plea bargain is he also must pay $500 to help repair damage to the Capitol complex.
3 suspects had their first hearings today in Denver after being arrested with 16 guns in their hotel room Friday. Authorities feared they might be planning a Las Vegas-style mass shooting at Denver's All-Star game. 2 of the suspects are facing weapon and drug-related charges. A 3rd suspect is charged with possession of a weapon by a previous offender. A $50,000 cash bond was set for a 4th suspect yesterday. Farmers say they're suffering due to an ongoing trade war with China. Valley News Team's Washington News Bureau's Nicole Newman found one who shared how he's being impacted.
It all comes down to profits and opportunities, and some Wisconsin farmers say they are missing out on expanding their businesses due to the trade war. Dave Daniels is a 3rd-generation dairy farmer in Union Grove, Wisconsin.
We formed Mighty Grand Dairy with 2 neighbors in 1997.
Since the 90s, Daniels says the farming industry has seen a big decrease in small farms. And in the past several years, the cost of getting product to the consumer has steadily increased.
Well, we have been engaged in a tit-for-tat tariff retaliation with China.
Trade expert Jeffrey Schott says the conflict began under the Trump administration.
Those tariffs now cover roughly 2/3 of all U.S. imports from China.
It centers around what the U.S. believes are unfair trade methods by China, including allegedly stealing trade secrets that give the country a better economic position over America. An example is stealing trade secrets that allow a Chinese firm to benefit from U.S. technology without having to incur development costs or pay a licensing fee to the U.S. firm.
I am an unabashed free trader, but it has to be fair trade.
Recently, in a letter on June 30th to the White House, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson and a group of Republican senators asked the president to end the trade war and eliminate tariffs. Daniels explains what he believes the benefit would be if that happens.
We can export more of our products out into the world market.
Senator Johnson's office says it has yet to receive a formal response, but the White House has confirmed it did receive the letter. In Washington, I'm Nicole Newman.
You can now start paying for parking in Grand Forks by simply using a mobile app. It's called Passport Parking. You'll be able to pay for hourly and daily parking in downtown, but if you're looking for long-term parking, you can purchase a monthly or annual permit, also online. You can find more information on how to do that on our website.
Still ahead tonight on Valley News Live at 10, a flight that was anything but routine. The story behind getting a World War II veteran home.
But first, Hutch is in with your weather forecast.